Good afternoon. This is Chris Schultz along with Gary Hoff, our Friday Night Victors podcast. This is the 2019 season. This is podcast number 5. We are Labor Day here, 2019. Gary, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Week 1's in the books.
It was a big week of high school football.
Yeah,
pretty exciting. Did you enjoy the game you went to?
A lot of games. Yeah, well, I only went to one. Of course, I did the CC game, and they looked pretty good. Looked okay. First, I think it's just week 1. Just win, really, in week 1. That's all that matters.
Was there a big crowd out there at Navarre?
Yeah, a typical Friday night crowd on the home side anyway. Yeah.
How about, did Madison bring people?
Not a lot of people from Madison.
Okay. It's basically the other side of the earth.
Yeah,
really.
Not a lot. Maybe 30, 40.
Okay.
Not a lot.
All right. Well, let's. We're going to go over what we're going to talk about on the show. We're going to discuss the games and scores from Friday night, Thursday night as well.
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday, and then we're also going to discuss our nominees for Player of the Week. And on the blog itself, they are courtesy of Frank Vajner, our partner in crime, and we concurred with everybody he came up with. But those will go up on the blog, and there will be a poll, so we will talk about that as well. But why don't we talk about our sponsors first? We appreciate our sponsors; they make all this possible. So why don't you go over those?
Let's first and foremost let's give a big thanks to our friend Mick from Grow Zeal. He's a Dearborn Heights firefighter.
Awesome.
And he sent us a couple T-shirts, one for Chris and one for myself. And Chris picked the nicest one, of course. But I'll take I'll take my free T-shirt from Mick, absolutely. And he sent Mick sent us something else, a little extra for the effort, I guess you would say.
And we really appreciate that,
yeah.
Mick. I will rock this shirt for sure.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you listening and thinking of us out there in the grand scheme of things. So thank you very much.
All right, Mick, thanks.
How about our sponsors?
Sponsors, Cakes by Stephanie. Okay. I think everybody in Monroe pretty much now has heard of Cakes by Stephanie, right? So
I would think so.
Yeah. They are the proud parents of Alex Morgan.
I didn't know that. Do I know that?
You knew that.
I guess you told me. I don't know. I'm old. I'm confused.
Yeah, Alex Morgan, one of the better
running
backs.
He's a good running back.
He is a good running back.
Pete.
You go get your wedding cakes, your cookies, whatever the heck it is you want. Any sort of pastry, they got it, and they're absolutely delicious. They're out of this world. Go visit Cakes by Stephanie, downtown Monroe, pretty much, Elm and Monroe Street. Yeah. And Gerwick Nissan. Gerwick's, John's been with us now for 3 years coming up this year. And I leased a car from John. I'm going to lease another one. So
he was. We always have our Gerwick Nissan Game of the Week.
Game of the Week, that's right. So go see John over on Monroe Street in Dunbar. And who else? Little Vinny's in Point-a-Po in Newport. Go check out Jeff and their $1 hot dog Mondays. Pretty darn good deal. Mike Murphy, if you notice, we have a new ad up. Mike Murphy, he's a local painter. Paint your house or paint, whatever you need him to paint. Mike Murphy will do that. So give him a call. His ad's on our main page. And, he's got free estimates, cheap. Check him out. And what else? Who else we got, Chris?
We got JJ Sports Video.
JJ Sports Video. Jared Jansen does a lot of highlights. If you watch on Facebook or Twitter, he does a lot of highlights for local athletes. Highlight reels, highlight tapes to help
great work.
Help getting recruited and things like that. And he'll video all your games for you. And pretty much probably video anything you want. So thank you, Jared. Check out Jared Jansen, JJ Sports Video. And who else? We got one more. Level Up Training. John Carabino. I think he's got his own place now. He used to be inside that joint there on,
he's still there.
Stewart Road? But I think it's his now. I don't know. It just looks that way.
Level Up Training Complex.
So he's doing so well.
Good for him.
Yeah.
It's probably all those kids we've sent to him.
Yeah. I think we've helped him out a little bit, but he's helped us out too, and we thank him. So Level Up Training, go check them out for all your exercise needs. He'll turn the fat people skinny, and the skinny people, he'll make them faster. So.
Well, there you go. Very good. All right. Well, let's appreciate you doing that. Let's jump into the games from Thursday night, and we'll just talk about the games in general and the scores. See if there was any surprises out there. There were a few.
Yeah.
First game I got on our list was Blissfield from the LCAA and who I picked to win the LCAA.
Yeah.
33, Whiteford 14, and that was Whiteford's first regular season loss in quite a while. I think it was it 27 games, or it was a while.
Was it? Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't quite that
Probably
long, but
something like that.
A lot of regular season games. What's your thoughts on that? That's not a surprising score,
not a surprise,
and it's not a bad loss for
No.
Whiteford. It's just Blissfield's kind of loaded this year.
They got a really good team. Blissfield's young, so I think it's for week 1. Maybe they play in week 7, and it's a little bit tighter. I don't know, but yeah, Blissfield's a darn good team, and we kind of thought Blissfield was going to win that game.
Okay. Next game we had was a game where we both picked Erie Mason. Erie Mason beat Summerfield 58-40, and it was like a Big 12 game or something.
Yeah,
where a lot of running down, run and shoot, whatever you want to call it.
It was Oklahoma versus Texas Tech or something like that.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
It's funny. Mason sends out tweets to the media after every score, not tweets, but texts to the media on every score. So I'm doing the CC game, and I got a text, I think, from Mason every 5 seconds. It was just crazy, all the scoring, and I'm trying to relay it to you, and it just becomes pretty wild. But yeah, it looks like that's what Mason's going to have to do to win. They're going to have to score 40. To beat the good teams, and but they have the team to do it, though.
I have said this for years. You can play the best defense in the world, but if you can't score, theoretically, you would tie every game 0-0. Right. Mm-hmm. It's about outscoring the other team, and
that's right.
Mason did that.
Well, in today's football, if you can't win a game 44-40, you're in big trouble. So
yeah,
Mason can do that.
All right, next we had the Airport Jets 37, the Ida Blue Streaks 24. This was a game that we were happy that was happening. Mm-hmm. It's a solid win for Airport, and they were up, and Ida made it interesting.
I'm gonna put this in as my most impressive win category, I think, of the group. I mean, it's certainly one of them. For me, it probably is, of our teams, the most important win. I thought Airport would win. I thought they were a little bit better, but than Ida, but.
They had a lot of kids back, and on the offensive, defensive line, and when it comes to football, that's how you win games. Yeah. And I think that's probably why we had both went with Airport.
Airport, they're a sleeper team in the league. I think you can officially call them that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I don't disagree. Mm-hmm. All right, next up we had Summit Academy in Huron Township, or Romulus, 29, Dundee 7. We had all picked Dundee. But this was a game that I'm not necessarily surprised by the outcome. The score doesn't necessarily surprise me either. Dundee had close to 500 yards in offense.
That's crazy.
And they lose the game. Your thoughts on this? I mean, I have a couple.
I didn't know they had that many yards on offense. Well, I think Summit's probably better than they've ever been. I think that you'd have to say that.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Summit because they're a charter school and I'm familiar with them.
Right.
They have had issues keeping coaches, and they've found themselves a pretty good coach, and it looks like he's going to stay. And Summit has always had players, but what would happen is a coach who was there would leave and go somewhere else, and they'd take all the players with them. Well, the new rule changes that a little bit in the MHSAA, but Summit has always had players, and they have a pretty nice team, and it sounds like they played pretty well. So it sounds like Summit earned that victory.
Yeah, it's week 1. Dundee has a long time to rebound here. So
yeah, for sure. And I think, quite honestly, I think Summit's a team that probably goes 7-2.
Wow. Okay.
So that's not a bad loss. I know people like to say, oh my gosh, they lost to Summit Academy. Then you probably don't know football. Next, we have Carlson 42. Southgate Anderson 21. This was a game from the Downriver League. I mean, this wasn't unexpected. I'm a little surprised Anderson scored 21 points. I didn't look at the logistics of when they scored, if it was out of control or if they were. I don't know. Your thoughts?
I didn't either. But normally Jack will, if he's playing a team that he's just far superior to, he'll get to the 40 mark and then just shut it down pretty much. And that may have been what happened. It may not have been what happened. I'm not sure, but yeah, they doubled them up nonetheless.
Right.
Yeah, Carlson's a good team. They will be competing strongly for the Downriver League title. So I don't there's nothing more to say about that game.
Right.
They
have a big game this week. They travel over to Woodhaven.
Woodhaven.
And that's a game I'm actually considering of going to because it's like 5 minutes from home. Okay, next we had Wyandotte Roosevelt 28, Monroe 21. You had gone with Monroe. I went with Wyandotte. And not a big surprise. I think this was a pick'em game.
It was a pick'em game, yeah. I had Monroe winning a tight one. It was just going to take a little bit longer for Monroe to get things going. A lot of new faces, but Wyandotte's a good program.
They are. I mean, Ron Adams is a heck of a coach over there. He does a lot of good things, and that score doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, you say they made the playoffs how many years in a row? 15, 20, 13?
15, yeah, I think it's like
So when you make the playoffs, that's crazy. So they're a good program.
Yeah, they are.
And Monroe will bounce back.
Yeah, I think so. All right, next we had an overtime game, which was Thurston 26, Flatrock 20. This was one where it sounds like there were a couple of bounces that just went the wrong way for Flatrock in a game that they were up, and then they weren't. And then I think on the last play when Thurston scored, the quarterback for Thurston threw a pass. It was tipped by the defensive lineman right back to the quarterback, and he caught it and ran it in for a touchdown. So tough loss for the Rams. I mean, Thurston's a good program. They usually get better as they go.
Right.
But that's not a bad loss at all.
I thought Flat Rock would get them in week one's the time you want to play Thurston.
I would agree with that.
I thought they would get them. Flat Rock. A couple of our teams, Flat Rock, Dundee, maybe throw it in the airport a little bit, but they just have a little bit of a hard time winning those tight ones. And one of these days, one of these years, it's all going to turn around. Things they have a way of evening out.
Yeah.
And I think will this be the year? We don't know, but just Flat Rock still a little snake bitten there. A little carryover from last year, maybe, I'm not sure, but.
I think it was just dumb luck.
Again, week one
for Thurston.
Week one, they can bounce back. And Flat Rock's going to be, Coach Buck, whoever Flat Rock plays next week, and we'll talk about that upcoming video or so. But I wouldn't want to play Flat Rock next week.
No, I would agree with that. All right, next we have a battle of 2 and 7 teams from last year. New Boston Huron beat Melvindale 41-0, and they kind of opened a can on Melvindale
this is since your father's New Boston Huron Chiefs.
I guess Huron kind of they were pretty impressive. They played two quarterbacks. 2 quarterbacks. One of them threw for 3 touchdowns, and the other one ran for a couple or whatever. So Huron will find out what they're made of this week when they host Riverview. Yep. So they'll see how good they really are.
That's a game to watch.
Yeah, and that's a game. That's another one I'm up and down on whether I'm going to go to that or the Carlson.
That is a game to watch. The
game,
barometer in the Huron League.
That'd be a good one to see. Yep. Next we have Riverview 44 and Romulus 18. You don't like this matchup, and it sounds like it was just. I think we'll just touch on it was Riverview's too much for Romulus.
Well,
is what it is.
I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it, but I'd just like to see Riverview strengthen that week one, strengthen it.
Yep.
That's all.
All right, next we had Riverview Gable Richard 21. They defeated Groseal 15. That was a game where I picked Groseal. I believe you did as well.
Yeah.
And, Richard, I know a little bit about them. Just because I go out and see them. My daughter goes there, and I know the coach a little bit. They have a nice program.
Yeah.
And Groseal did turn the ball over a lot, but quite honestly, Richard had something to do with that. So, I don't think it's a bad loss for Groseal. I mean, they had a close game last year, and the Islanders or the Red Devils ran the table on the season. So, not a bad loss, but a little surprise on my end.
Richard's a program to look out for.
Now, another game that you were at was SMCC defeated Madison Heights Madison by a score of 32-22. Why don't you talk about that game a little bit? You were there on the color call.
Kind of a game of halves. Central went into half 29-6, and the second half, Madison's defense. And I knew they had a good defense. Their defense shut them down pretty good the first 2 or 3 drives of the half. Madison scored a couple times, and it became a game. Madison's good. They're used to winning there. They got a winning tradition, and they expect to win. They don't expect to lose. So they came to this game fully expecting to win, and they played like it, certainly in the second half once they figured out the tee and all that kind of stuff. But, it's week one. Can Central play better? Sure, definitely. But, got the win, and Coach Kipp will take it and move on.
Yeah, it was actually closer than I thought it was going to be. And when you were sending me the scores, or I was seeing the score, I was thinking, yep, I was right on this because I picked it an 18-point spread. But, it ended up a 10-point game. And then the last game on Thursday I'm going to touch on only because I was there.
Okay.
Was the Advanced Tech Lakers, which is the school I'm the athletic director at.
Right.
Played their first ever varsity game, and they were able to beat Star International Academy by a score of 38-18. So that was some pretty exciting.
So it's the first varsity football victory in the history of your school.
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
And pretty excited about it.
Really cool.
And we played pretty well.
We
run the tee, and Star was an empty set, 5 receivers the entire night. I think they put a kid in motion one time and ran him like a jet sweep, but there were a couple of scrambles by their quarterback and a couple of draw plays. Everything else was a pass.
Wow.
And the game took forever. It was like a 3-hour game because they just threw the ball so many times. So anyways, so I just wanted to give a shout out there.
Absolutely.
Because I had it on the scoreboard. Let's switch over to Friday night. We had 3 games on Friday night. The first one was Milan defeated Bridgeport by a score of 47-14. Thoughts on that? No surprise, really.
Zero surprise. Milan's good. Bridgeport is not as good. And Milan has Tristan Hines. I mean, he's just really good.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
And they have Jesse Hoskins as well.
Yeah.
A great coach.
Well, they got other good players, but when you got that superstar, man, so
he does a lot.
He's tough.
He changes the game for them.
He sure does.
Next up was Sterling Heights Stevenson 32 and the Bedford Kicking Mules 7. That was a score that surprised us. I think it was, Stevenson was probably the better team. They won on the road, but Bedford really turned the ball over a lot. Yeah. But I'm sure Stevenson had something to do with that. Yep. Just I don't know what else to say on that other than Stevenson's going to have a big year. I think they're expecting a big year.
You would think after that score. I mean, if Bedford it was a 7-0 Bedford. They scored first, so I was thinking, okay, Bedford, let's go. I want to see Bedford win, but Sterling Heights. Put it on them after that, and maybe it's just a thing or situation where the Mules just got to get used to Coach Vickers and his new style of play. They used to run the option there; they're not running the option anymore, so that's a big
big
change.
Offense, probably running a different defense as well.
So it'll take a little bit.
Yeah, and I think Bedford will be fine. And then our last game of week 1 and last game on Friday night was. I don't want to say monumental, but it was a big deal.
Sure,
because the Jefferson Bears defeated Dearborn Heights Annapolis by a score of 28-14. That was their first win since October of 2016. They had lost 19 straight. The first win for head coach Gene Janot, and everybody knows he's a great guy. He's a real good guy.
Yep.
So talk about that. Big win for the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. I mean, I didn't get a whole lot on the game. Didn't hear much from it, but it was an exciting thing. I think the players just had to be elated. The fans, everybody, you think about that 19 wins. It's always in the back of your head, no matter what. Or 19 in a row, I should say, losses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's always in the back of your head, and boy, just to erase that in week 1, what a thing to get off your back. And now it's just moving forward.
Just play, and that won't be their last win of the season.
No,
they will have multiple wins this year.
I agree with that.
It'll be interesting to see.
So congratulations to Jefferson. Congratulations to Coach Janot and his players and coaching staff.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yep. So, all right, so that's our wrap-up of the games. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the players of the week, our nominees.
Right.
And we are going to put up a poll, and it will have a little outline of what the players did on Thursday and Friday, and then you'll be able to vote. And that will be open until, Thursday morning sometime.
It's going to go up tomorrow morning?
It's going to go up tomorrow morning, and
Yeah.
it'll be up for a couple of days.
Okay.
So, and I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. And first up, we have Player of the Week nominee for the Friday Night Victors Player of the Week is Noah Beaudry, quarterback from Erie Mason. The Eagles' junior quarterback made a statement in Week 1 as he totaled 497 total yards. He had 264 passing, 233 rushing, and 6 total touchdowns in Mason's 58-40 win over Summerfield. The win was the Eagles' first over Summerfield since 1989 and the first season-opening win since 2003, back when they defeated Whitmore Lake 42-7. That's pretty impressive. And then we're going to expect big stats from him. He's a really good player. He's really good.
Yeah.
And
I would expect him. He might be in this on this list every week, possibly.
Yeah.
If they're going to win, he's going to be.
Yeah. And
would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and here's the thing. I want to make sure we say this. I mean, he's not passing the ball to himself. He is throwing the ball to other people.
That's right.
And he has people blocking for
protection.
him. But he's a really good player, and so he's first of our nominees. Next is Wyatt Bergmoser, who is he's a quarterback / running back / kicker.
Yes.
He plays defense as well, doesn't he?
Safety.
Yeah, safety for St. Mary Catholic Central. And, he had tore his ACL last season. He's a senior. He didn't miss a beat, though, for the Falcons. He went 4 for 4 on his extra points. He booted a 24-yard field goal. He ran for a touchdown, and he threw for another one in SMCC's 32-22 win over Madison Heights. Madison, you were there. What was he doing? Selling popcorn at halftime?
He had a fabulous game. He only ran about 6 times and didn't really break any big runs, but his fingerprints were all over this game, and so were his brothers. His brother had a nice interception in the defensive side of things, but the Bergmosers were all over that game. He did a little bit of everything, and that's why he's on there. But that touchdown pass, he didn't play quarterback. Christian Harrington started the whole game at quarterback.
Okay.
But he is the backup quarterback,
per
se, starting running back, backup quarterback. But he did throw a pass because he's the field goal kicker. SMCC attempted a field goal. The ball was snapped completely over the holder's head, about 15 yards behind him. Bergmoser runs back, scrambles around people, throws it from the 30 or 40, hits Cousineau, catches it, and he just, I think one of the Madison Heights kids just didn't want to be involved in what was going to happen at the end zone by running into Cousineau, and he just kind of just fell short a little bit. But Cousineau gets in, and that's the touchdown pass.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good game.
Great game.
All right. Next up, Noah Blankenship. He's a quarterback, defensive back from Airport. Two-way standout, helped the Jets defeat Ida in the opener by a score of 37-24. Senior quarterback rushed for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 5 carries, and he was 3 for 3 in passing for another 83 yards. And from his defensive back position, he had an interception and a fumble recovery. That's a nice game.
2 candidates right there in a row are all around games where they're just all over the field.
Yeah, holy cow.
I read a couple things on the blog about Blankenship. One commenter said it was like he was shot out of a cannon. He was just that much faster than everybody else from his quarterback spot. Once he turned that corner, he was gone. So he's a player to look out for. And we're going to get accused of giving Airport too much love, as we always do, oddly and strangely. But Airport, again, is a team to look out for. And Blankenship's a team or a player to, he might be on this list again.
Right. Okay, next we have Tristan Hines, quarterback from Milan. We had mentioned him earlier. But he basically rang up 216 total yards, and he accounted for 5 touchdowns in the Big Reds' 47-14 rout of Bridgeport.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what else you could say other than he's just a player.
There
was a reason he was one of our players of the year last year on the blog. So,
that's right. You get near the end zone, he's getting the ball. Period.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next up is the Jefferson Bears.
That's right.
The Jefferson Bears.
The whole team.
Jefferson recorded their first victory. It was since October 21st, 2016. They had a 19-game losing streak, and it was a 28-14 victory over Dearborn Heights Annapolis. It was the first career head coaching victory for Gene Janot at Jefferson as a varsity coach. So We couldn't leave them off.
No.
And it just seems, we had to have them in there because it was a big deal.
I think everybody in the Huron League wanted them to get that win, and they did.
Yeah, I would agree. I know the two of us both did. All right, next up we have running back Julian Poole from Carlson. Poole turned in a breakout game as he recorded 200 all-purpose yards. He had 110 yards rushing and 90 receiving, and he had 2 touchdowns in the Marauders' 42-21 win over Southgate Anderson. That's a good day.
Yeah, Coach John found himself a running back. Yeah.
And he caught the ball.
Yeah.
For 90 yards.
90 yards. That's pretty impressive.
Was that one pass, or because I really don't throw a lot over there, but
I'm not
I
sure.
guess I didn't look that closely to the statistics.
I'm
just
not
look
sure,
at totals
but that's a good day. And the running backs over at Carlson, they're going to get the ball. So depends on what you do with it. And Poole, he knew what to do with it. So great day.
Very good. And last, certainly not least, is Isaac Smith. He is a wide receiver from New Boston Huron. He had a breakout performance. He caught 4 passes for 84 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Chiefs' 41-0 shutout of Melvindale. That win was the first shutout by the Chiefs since a 41-0 blanking of Riverview back in 2008. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
So I'll say this: Isaac Smith is the sophomore son of the head coach, Chad Smith at New Boston Huron. And Coach Smith won't say it, but I'll say it. His son's a really, really good football player.
Yeah.
He was on the varsity last year as a freshman, and the kid catches everything. It's like he's got stickum on his hands. It's crazy. He's like Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
And really fast, good athlete. He's got a couple of good quarterbacks over there.
Yeah, that's a good combination.
We got Austin Meyer and Chase Molnar is the other quarterback there, and they both can sling it around a little bit.
Can. And Molnar can run. I know that much.
Yeah, he can. He's a good athlete. He had a couple older brothers that were good athletes as well, and a dad who was a good athlete. I believe he went to Southgate Aquinas. Maybe that's a guess. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that. But anyways, so those are our candidates for the players of the week.
I just want to add, there were several other good.
Oh yeah.
And somebody might feel they're left off, or
and I do have in the voting there. You can can select other.
Yeah, and in your comments, because there are some others that could have made this list.
We can't nominate it.
You can't put everybody on there. So
we had 7 people, and that's probably the
more
most
than we're going to do 5.
But here's the thing: that's because we had 13 games that we covered, or maybe it was 14. And normally, our players we pick are from the winning squad.
Right.
We normally do that, but when we get into week 2 next week, you'll see a lot less games to cover because we're getting in some of the league games and these teams are playing each other. So we're not trying to slight anyone else.
No.
We are trying to promote those who we thought had great games.
Yep.
So with that, that's kind of leaves us where we're at, wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of a long podcast, but we appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
You can, look. Tomorrow morning, we will have our players of the week and the poll up on the website. And then you can also look for, probably on Wednesday, our video picks for week 2. So with that, that's a wrap-up. Gary, you got anything else you want to add before we call it a day?
Thanks again to Mick, Dearborn Heights Firefighters.
Yeah.
For the gift, and we really do appreciate that.
All right, everyone. Thanks. Have a great day.